If you carry your leg and go back to your parents' house to talk about your marriage business, they'll be involved.
Your family knows what they can get away with based off of what you left them. So
Your friends and your family never forget and they never forgive. You can forgive and move on. After maybe rent started being late, like to pay it, I was like, we need to figure out a better method.
because we're making enough money.
This was, we're trying to do 50-50. And then any baggage, any bills you brought into the relationship, you handle it
On your own.
that is your problem. Finance, I think, definitely was the muscle we had to work through, bro.
We had to learn more. We just had to
It
learn
was
more at the
so
time.
much. You had to figure out what worked.
Yeah.
It just got to a point where we're just like, delete every bank account we have.
Welcome back to another episode of Amo Talk Show. My name is Talia, your host, and if this is your first time here, I'm so sorry, but you've been missing out. You know what? Go ahead and click subscribe, like this video, and share it with a friend so that you can continue watching together. And today on the episode, I have two of my good friends, guys. To begin with, if you guys can just introduce yourselves, and then we'll get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's start with Matthew.
Hi, I'm Matthew. I am Faith's husband, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you for accepting my invitation.
Absolutely. And I'm Faith. I have been on the pod before. And
Too many times.
Too many appearances. But I'm excited to be back talking about something entirely different than we did the last time.
We're going to dive into kind of like navigating and building boundaries with the families you both come from. I have seen, and I know people are going to look at me like, Tulia, what do you know? You're not married. I beg you. I have eyes. And couples, they talk. And we listen. We have ears. So we hear things. And some of the things that I've seen people that are really struggling with is the fact that Africans have this saying that marriage is the union of two families. It's the bringing together of two families. But I think one thing that we forget or we don't really acknowledge is the fact that marriage is the union of two families to create another family unit.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And because it is so, you are now starting your own new life. We're all Christians here. They say man will leave his home, the wife will also leave their home, and together they'll build their own. However, I don't think that Africans, or I don't know in the case for like where you come from, how that goes. But in the African household, they do not accept that this child is now in control of their own family and the upbringing of their family. And so oftentimes we're hearing that like the girl's family is requesting like monthly financial support.
Yeah.
Or the guy's family is expecting them to be their word to be the last word in decision making, whatever it may be. Like you're going to move out of state, they have to decide like, yeah, you're gonna move out of state, or you're gonna move out of the house, or you're gonna do this.
Yeah.
That right there, I feel, is one of the reasons that's causing like a lot of marriages to die. Because as a woman, I'm not gonna sit here and listen to you take orders from your father about how to run our marriage. And also as the man, I'm not going to sit here and raise your mother's family.
Yeah.
Take care of their A to Z.
Yeah.
Because now I have my own family too.
Yeah.
So how do you guys, because I know you have a family in Chicago and you have family in Nigeria, Sha. So how do you guys create those boundaries? What have you done to build the boundaries where it's strict, your families know, and they know for sure that, please leave these kids be?
Yeah.
I think your family and, your family is really good at setting their own boundaries. So they're not going to overstep. And if they do have something that they want to say, they're going to ask like, is it okay if I say this? Like, I don't want to overstep. But even my family, sometimes, you have to set those boundaries with them.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, it's our marriage, so we have to protect it. And
Yes, and nobody outside is going to
no
do
one
it for you.
outside. Exactly.
Yeah. Also, like, there's this Nigerian saying, if you carry your leg and go back to your parents' house to talk about your marriage business, they'll be involved. So I think that's something we talked about early on too,
Yeah,
right?
we
Like
did.
we'll figure out the problem ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I actually gave an example. I said, if you ever have an issue with me or something you feel like it's beyond your control of having a conversation of maybe I'm not catching raisin, you talk to my family. And if there's something that you do and it's like, I just can't seem to break, I talk to your family. But I will never talk to my family and you talk to your family, because his family will always take his side. They will take his side, right? And my family will always take my side because they're biased that way.
Right.
But we just said, I mean, we've not ever had to really come to that situation, but it's like, that's kind of how I don't ever want my family to see him in a light that is not true, because your family will never forgive. Your family and your friends. Your family and your friends
Say that
never
again.
forgive.
Because I feel like you young ladies and young
I was
gentlemen, you're
gonna
not
say,
understanding this point. Say it
your,
again.
Your friends and your family never forget and they never forgive. You can forgive and move on. Your family and your friends will never forgive. And they will use it against him in the court of law. So it will come back again.
Yeah.
So I always say, like, if there's an issue with him, right, and I tell, for example, like I maybe bring it up to your mom, like, oh, I don't know, Matthew did this or whatever. I think your mom, it puts her in a situation where she has to look at it subjectively without emotion. Because to her, it's like, oh, why is my son doing this? And then she's going to talk to you in a loving way. Whereas, hey, you need to treat your wife this way because, So now it doesn't feel like a secret where my family's attacking you. Your parents know, right? And in the same situation, my mom could be like, oh, wow, like, why are you acting like this? Matthew said you did this. Like, and that's the kind of parents I think that's just kind of, we're lucky we have those kind of family.
Right.
That our parents will look out for the other person. I think even our friends too. We're lucky that way that
We
our
told
friends,
Faith that
yeah. So it's kind of those situations that, like, if we had friends with the friends, I'm like, sorry, your husband, whatever he says, I'll show up for him. So you better respect yourself.
literally,
So I
we
think
told Faith years back that if anything ever happened in between you two, we'll know that you are the problem. We'll know that you are the problem, and we'll always take Matthew's side. So that is very, very
it's kind
true.
of cool to have those dynamic, and not everybody has it, but I think it's like our families have very healthy boundaries. They respect our decisions, and I think that's why.
But you set those boundaries.
Yeah.
You have to
Your
do it.
family knows what they can get away with based off of what you let them. So you kind of also have to be prepared to, if needed, to cut people off at that point.
Yeah.
In your family.
Yeah.
Because if someone attacks
it's
your
very
wife,
easy.
will you allow? If someone attacks your wife, will you let them? Will you allow them in front of you?
Yeah,
No, they have to
so,
go.
So
it's not okay.
It's kind of interesting because of that dynamic, it makes it very easy to cut people off. You say something left, I cut you off. like it's just no point. And there's some people too that you do have to protect their access to your significant other, right? Because maybe either they always have a vibe exactly that it's not gonna be right, or so it's like you gotta come through. It's gonna be both of us, right? So if you ask me for something and I'm like, here's the thing, right? If you ask me for money, my husband knows either way, right? Because the money is coming from the same
account.
If I do a transaction, he knows. So he had to have said okay or sure, that's fine. Or if you borrow money from Matthew, I know. So it's okay. It's not like anything. We talk about it. And even things little as that, and it's fine, but it's just because our sanity is very important.
Yeah.
There is no need to have all of that. But yeah.
All right, guys, if you've gotten this far, I love you. I love people who have long attention span. You are my type of people.
I know. Because in this, right now, people have very low attention
Very,
span.
very low. And so I love people like you. And if you haven't already liked the video, commented something, all of this talking we've spoken here, nothing even, I love this conversation. Faith, I love your marriage. Something, Lord, Write something down and share the video with somebody else that might benefit from this. We do this for you guys and for ourselves too. I love learning. It's one of the things I really love about myself is that I just enjoy learning from others. And so, yes, please share the video. And if you are a newcomer and you have not subscribed, we love you for coming. But please become part of the family.
Yeah.
Please, we really appreciate it when you do that. So, as you were talking, Faith, you said that if somebody borrows money from your husband, you too, you will know. If your family asks money from you, Matthew will know. Am I hearing that you two have a joint account?
Yeah, we do. This was after lots of trial and errors.
Very taboo. Very taboo, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had so many trials and error. Where did we start? It's so funny because finances, right? We did not grow up with good examples of financial health, financial well-being, investing, just financial savviness. And when I said I was very intense in college, I was new to the American culture and the system. And so I was literally trying to take in so much information and understand the best strategy to be successful living in the diaspora as a Nigerian young lady by myself. So financial education was something that was very important to me. Doesn't mean I knew it, I just understood what the system was like. When we came to dating, I think it was obviously one of those tough parts of the relationship that we just had different views that were not good. Neither my views were good, neither his was good. But we just were like, we're gonna figure this thing out one way or the other. But I remember we started with a savings account while we were dating.
Yeah.
We had a savings
It's much
account.
harder while you're dating though, because
Yeah,
you're
it's
still
so much
building
harder.
trust.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I just met this
That's
guy.
personal
What are
money.
we just needed an account where we could put money away for stuff that we wanted to do together. That's kind of how it started. Because if the money's in my account, it might go away and I can come up with an explanation, same vice versa. So we came up with the account. We were saving here and there. If we did something
But you guys were
together-
intentional on getting married, right?
Yes. At the
Okay.
time,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't go open an account if you're not going to be with somebody. First of all, the logistics of even opening is a
Right.
lot.
Yeah.
So, and we knew we were going to get married. So we did within the year, we knew we were going to get married. But this was like, I was going to be done with school. We're trying to save to get a place together and all that. So we needed an account, at least somewhere. We started, how did we start? We started where, I don't know, 50-50 early on when we got married. So like he had his own accounts, I had my accounts, I got paid how much I got paid, he got paid how much he got paid. He didn't really know how much I was making. I mean, we knew overall how much we were being paid, but we didn't know what we were doing with our money.
Okay.
We had bills and we were like, oh, rent is this much. Okay, bring this much money, I bring this much money, we pay it. Utilities this, utilities that. My
You're doing
sister-
50-50.
You get
It
this
was-
one, I get this one.
It was not working.
We tried
That's
that.
even before
That was
we
next.
got. That was next.
Yeah.
This was we're trying to do 50-50. And then any baggage, any bills you brought into the relationship, you had to lose.
Yeah.
On your own.
That is your problem. That's not my business. My sister, it wasn't working because it got to a point that the things that we actually needed, like the home expense, maybe his own personal stuff is overshadowing. Like it's more expensive than what we needed to be. I'm like, hey, we need a place to live. And mine, I have to do something comes up. And that time I could borrow money. I could just give money. And I'm like, where's my money going to? And then it's like the month end reached to pay rent and all that. So we had a lot of, and this was like, we were keeping things. We were not really talking much about it. Bills were getting paid. After maybe rent started being late, like to pay it, I was like, we need to figure out a better method.
Because we're making enough money.
Yes.
It didn't make
Here's the
any
thing.
sense.
We were making well enough money to afford whatever that
Everything.
situation. We were fine.
Yeah.
But we just had too many side missions separately. And those side missions were expensive.
And they were exhausting your marriage.
I was literally trying to buy a house in Nigeria. I didn't even talk to him about the process. But it was a lot of money. And I was trying to save like so much money. I was doing my thing. And because, I was like, I need to get a home back in Nigeria. Just if things go, we have a place to go live regardless. Matthew was trying to figure out debt and all that, which I knew about. I'm just like, don't talk. Like, if you're not going to come and talk about it, figure it out. He was not working. So next thing, what was the next one we tried? Split. Oh, no. You take this bill, I take this bill.
Yeah.
You take this bill, I take this bill. Well, that teaches you a lot. Matthew, don't overcomplicate a task for him. He had, like, let's say he has to deal with, let's say rent goes on maybe the 1st or the 2nd. Phone bill goes like on the 12th or the 13th. This bill goes on like the 21st.
Just too many different dates.
You do all that for him, he's like, something's gonna miss at some point.
Especially if something just comes up
exactly. And that's something that I know how to navigate. I
thrives on
know
that.
when things happen. So I kind of figure out when all that. So one day, I think this was so funny because I was like, I know we're not broke. I know we're doing well, very well, because I know every single expense that we have. Matthew, my phone got cut off. My husband forgot to do auto pay.
Yeah.
He thought he set it up automatically to pay. And the thing was sending reminder to like an email he doesn't use.
I don't even use, couldn't get into it.
So I was livid. I was like, oh my God, my phone bill's cut off. I went to check the account. I was like, I know we're not broke. So what's going on? So he's like, oh my gosh, I forgot it. I'm like, fix the problem and all that. So we got through that. So we had a lot of those where it's like...
On that time, I had like 4 lines too. I had my sister, my mom on there.
Yes, he had other people on the phone lines. And I'm like, this is not... I was like, this is not working and all that. And then we tried we tried something else. That was terrible. A percentage. So it's like, because this bill, 70% of our bill comes off at like the start before the 15th. So this person handles all of this. So I took on that part. And then Matthew, since there's too many dates for you, how about you set this up? That worked for some time, but we had issues with saving, like setting up, saving, investing, and all that. And however, these were things I was doing. I figured it out somehow. But then I was like, he's not engaged, he's not really that involved in like how, like this, I'm speaking in business terms, the financial strategy when it comes to investing and navigating, like thinking about your future as a family and things like that. And I wasn't really communicating where my mind was at when it came to like using our income as a wealth building tool, starting a business. Like I could navigate so many things at once. I thrived in that type of space. And Matthew was like, life can't be that deep. It's not that deep. Like simplify things for me. And so I think it made us take a step back. Like, let's just let go. Like, let's let go of the control of trying to figure out things. Matthew was like, I want to handle it all. Like he wants to do it because he feels he should do it. And I'm just like, you're going to miss this, you're going to miss that, you're going to miss this, you're going to miss that. And I'm like, okay, how about this? Let's be honest with each other and talk about our strengths and our weaknesses on some things.
Right.
Finance, I think, definitely was the muscle we had to work through. Bro,
we had to learn more. We just had to learn more at the time. It was
so much. You had to figure out what worked.
Yeah.
The books, the learning, the understand, like seeking out mentors and figuring out, it just got to a point where we're just like, delete every bank account we have.
And start a new.
Like 3 bank
start
accounts.
all over. We delete. Like we just had to do it. I think we're like,
Really?
let's just stop. Let the checks come to the house first.
And then start
we
over.
decide. So I was like, we're going to start from scratch. We're going to decide the bank we want to use, why we want to use it. We're going to discuss the kinds of account we want to open. We're going to discuss what we want to put money in. We're going to discuss things we're going to cut off.
Yeah.
That was also another one we had to get through.
Yeah.
And
You
I
have
was
10
like,
subscription, you don't
yeah,
even know
at
what
this-
they're
at
for.
Starts
this-
with what's
yeah.
needed.
Exactly, what's
What
needed.
you want, what's
Yeah.
needed, and then what you want.
Exactly. And we talked about goals, like what do you want to do? Like what's something you want to do? Let's do it.
Yeah.
And I remember that was the time I said I just want to travel. Like I genuinely want to be traveling.
And
well-
one thing about this, my friends, is that travel, they will travel.
I will-
Madam, this last year went to Paris, Greece, Nigeria. Where else did you not
I
go?
will book that flight.
Yeah.
One thing with the quickness too. So I think that was something we decided. We decided on a bank. We agreed on it. We talked about that. I think we just were like, no judgment. Like it's okay.
Bury
Like,
yourself.
Exactly. We just were like, just let go of it.
Yeah.
And I think around this time, this was around like 2022, because I remember we were doing our wedding in Nigeria. So we had a
Right.
major expense that we
Yep.
were paying for. So we just kind of deleted all the accounts.
And started over.
And we just started all over. And
I like
we,
that.
you know, we brought out all the debt that he had. And I was like, we have the money. And I was like, here's what we need to trust each other, right? We can come up with a plan together, but it's okay to be aggressive on some plans. Like his goal was like, he wants the debts to go. Like he's like, I just don't want this. I wanted to have a
Right.
good credit. I want to figure this out. I was like, all right, we'll come up with a plan. And I'm kind of intense on some things. Like I'm like, we're gonna write that check and pay it. So I was calling. We were calling a lot, and we were negotiating and things like that. And those are things I enjoy doing, just because with the business background and things. And we just start clearing them one after the other. And he started to see the benefits in his life, and so he became intentional about these things.
finances.
So that's how it started. The account it became the same.
Yeah.
Every single dime goes into it. We know every single thing.
Yeah.
We discuss it. We created all the accounts together. He's the beneficiary of everything. I'm the beneficiary of everything. Obviously, then we start to navigate. This is our goals. You know, we're like, we want to live a life that
Tell how we set it up.
we're comfortable.
Sell the setup.
What's that?
Sell the setup of our budget now.
Oh, okay.
So we have a checking account
Tracy, I love
together.
it.
Right.
We have a checking account together where our money goes.
Yeah.
And then we have each of us have our own checking account.
We have a
as well.
separate checking account. That's where, but the checking account is connected to that. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
so it's kind of like we know the
It's the
accounts.
same,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all the same bulk. So the accounts, so that's where just fun money goes. Judgment-free spending money. Meaning we have money that goes into that account for him, for me, we don't care. If you spend to buy something, you don't need to explain yourself to me. And obviously,
And I think that's so healthy.
I know there's some things that maybe you just don't want to talk about. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to judge my Sephora spending.
Right.
Right.
I don't want you to judge my Zara shopping.
No,
spree.
not at all.
If I book a flight to Texas,
Because I need to talk to my girls. I need to see my girls.
Say, oh, I'll just be out of town, and you know. So there are things that we just still want to have for ourselves, which is fine. Matthew
It's
loves
so
the
important.
game, right? I don't care for it. I don't want to be finding, you know, I don't care for GameStop or whatever. If he has a subscription for his thing, you do your thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we know about it. It's just
Yeah.
like you're just doing it. Like we have so. We,
And you guys have sat down and you decided that this
Yeah.
money is gonna go in
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and what you do with it, I do not care.
I don't want to know.
I love that.
So we call it our fun, guilt-free spending money. We just call it fun money. So sometimes there's months, obviously, things come up that we're like, we might have to sacrifice fun money for this month. But it's always, it goes. Everybody gets their fun money. Another thing is, obviously, with different types of income, right? And different types of pay periods, we figured out what was a good schedule and what works around that. So one of the things we did with our individual check-in, we also have individual saving. Here's the thing, the individual saving is not really that functional. It's just something you
Yeah,
want to
not
buy. If I want to buy a camera, I just put money aside to remember I do that.
And
But
does that come from your fund money?
yeah. So
Okay.
if there's something I'm
Yeah.
trying to
Okay.
buy in the future, that's something I put aside. And then we have our emergency savings account. Emergency savings is money for emergency.
Not negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah, it has to be paid.
Because anything can happen. You just so
You
if
have it there.
Yeah, you always have that. And then we have a high yield savings account. It's so funny because that started because same thing, financial strategy. You're gonna have, which kind of worked in hand with the emergency savings account. It was like just put any like high savings you have, just put it, because it gives you good return. And it's just a really good account. Everybody should
Right.
have it. And then we have like one travel account.
Okay.
I forgot
Yeah.
about that. The travel account.
That's
See,
important.
So that's how you guys traveled.
So I have my
Yeah.
individual. He can do his own trip if he wants to go home or do something, obviously out of his fund. But we do have a travel account money. So this is where we actually plan trips. We're like, okay, we want to go to Paris. We want to go to Greece. We want to be in Texas. We want to do this, and so we have that. So we know what it's probably going to cost us. What, maybe like $6,000 for the trip. We're like, okay, the trip is by June, we're gonna make sure. So we set it up that way. And then we have investment accounts where obviously we have like a Roth IRA. Matthew likes to actually like just trade in the market. Is that what they call it? Yeah. It's like
Trading.
Yeah. So those are things that you put money that you're willing to lose. The other one, my investment strategy is you need to allow time to work so that it can actually compound and build you money.
Retirement plan.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then we obviously had businesses that, but those we had business accounts.
Hi,
That was
look, you
our-
guys, I've
So-
brought you an investment
so
episode. Look at that. I love it.
So it took a while to get there, right? Some faster
But
than
no,
others.
I
but
mean,
we-
you guys have really gotten here quicker than
But we got there
most people.
together.
It's been 5 years.
So we have like, this is something that is actually really cool because Matthew kind of leads that. We now have like not it's bi-monthly like meetings together, like
over
financial strategy meetings. That was something we just never did. That's something I enjoy doing. I created the template that works for us, and I know how Matthew will understand it really well. And so we go through literally expenses for the
Madam,
month.
will you share it
And
with
we
my
talked to
audience?
actually, I can actually share that template. I can share it. We can customize it.
No,
for how it works
it'd
for
be
you.
nice to
But it
just
literally
share it.
talks about how, like for me, like my pay is stable to the dime. It stays the same, consistent. Matthew's changes, whether it's based off of bonuses or things like that. So sometimes it could be like, but we usually have a set amount. So we go through and it's broken down out of all the expenses. And then we see our behaviors. So this is kind of those things where we do inward look of like, what did I do this month that was not financially smart for our family?
Yeah.
So maybe I made a trip and I swiped a bit more than I should have on the card.
On the credit card.
Yeah.
Exactly, right. And then we're like, okay, this is something we need to be aware of. And so we just talk about it. We just wanted to get to
In
a
that
point where-
meeting.
yes.
And you do this every other month.
Twice a month. Actually.
Twice a month.
Here's the thing,
We
though.
just started doing it twice
Yeah,
a
we
month
just started
now.
doing it twice a month. But it was like just once a month we did. But we talk about money all the time. Like if something he needs to buy something.
But the
or
meeting
something
is
comes up-
important. I like
Yeah,
that because
yeah.
we say, my sister and I have this saying where we say, every family is a government,
Yeah.
right? And if every family is a government, that government has to have accountant,
Yeah.
all of everything that you need
Yeah.
to lead a structured government,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so having those meetings are
Yeah.
legitimate.
Yeah,
Like
it
it's,
doesn't
literally-
take long.
real.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
Doesn't take long.
But that's because we like talk throughout the month. So like oh, I'm doing this. So things we're just kind of doing a summary and understand like okay, we kind of overstretched it in this area this month.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to focus on this, and then we kind of remind each other of our goals, right? I'm like, oh, okay, so like remember
We need
you
to
want to
push
get
back.
this car or we want to do this, and we're people that like we have to be comfortable. We don't want to stretch anything in any way. And it's like, if we're not comfortable doing it, it's okay. It's not that deep. We don't
Yeah.
really need it so badly.
Yeah.
So things like that. And I think I want him to be on the same page as me. And I think it just makes things a lot easier when you're both on the same page. You know exactly where your money is going. So if people ask me for money and it has to come from my fund money, I'm just like,
Excuse me.
like, excuse me.
Sephora.
But sometimes, and that's something that happens. So sometimes, if you're borrowing somebody money that you just want to use out of that's fine. You do that.
Well, thank you guys for sharing that so much. And yes,
me
Faith,
too.
I'll be calling you. Like, where's that template at?
I'll
I could
share
use
the
it,
template. Yeah.
So,
It's
and
nice.
I will also share it with you guys too. You see, we're learning together.
Yeah.
I love this space for
You
this.
can use it.
So one other thing I would like to touch base on before we go back to like the fun stuff is how do you guys handle conflict and differences in opinion? Because I think that's like, that could be a whole topic on its own, but like just And
Yeah.
simple 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, we handle it.
Right.
handle it.
It's handled.
Yes, it's done.
The conflict is handled.
It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can come right out and talk about it right then and there, and just sit and have a long conversation, and everybody gets their emotions out and how they feel about it. And some people have to compromise. Some people have to bite the bullet, and
Who's compromising?
it
Is it-
depends.
It's-
It's
well,
never
on the other
it's never
end
the
of
Here's
same
the
person.
thing. It's we both compromise. Chill. I'm not that.
Okay.
We both they compromise.
Okay, good.
I've had to bite bullet a lot.
Okay,
She
I
does
like that.
too,
You
Yeah.
have to be willing to do that sometimes, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard.
He
though.
wanted to work.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm a Nigerian woman from Kaduna State. Sometimes, nah, how she, like I didn't vex.
You never vex anyhow.
Like the vex will come out that you need to leave the house for a second.
For you
Let
to
me-
calm
let me
down.
calm down.
Allow me
Sometimes
to
I think,
rest.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's so funny because there's sometimes Matthew knows exactly how I'm going to react about the situation, and I think seeing how he's trying to navigate communicating it, I'm just flabbergasted too. Because I'm like, you are still going to have to get to it. But I love this trip of getting there.
Yeah.
Because Matthew it's so cool because it's very important for him how the other person feels. And reacts to the situation. He's just not trying to get it out of control where he cannot handle the situation.
As a man, you can't let it get out of control, especially when you're talking to a woman. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
He wants to contain it.
not to
Yes.
be nonchalant about it, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
men have real anger, like
Yeah.
that could get out of control, and
So he's
that you
trying
have
to
to-
keep it in a parameter
Yeah.
of, hey, sometimes like let it out.
no,
no, me. Like,
Yes,
this thing, I'm
yes.
like,
Bring it out. Where is it?
Yeah, but
no, I would walk away.
But sometimes,
I like that.
there's some situations that,
I'm a walker, too.
He has to let me figure it out. Like, well, not like figure it out, just like figure out my emotions and stuff. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, right, it's not his responsibility to keep me happy. It is not his
Yes.
responsibility to to control my emotion. At the end of the day, it's gonna be me, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like I figure out my emotion to a point where I can communicate it, because that is the part where obviously I think, because I've seen a lot of trauma and like just things that are just not that great for relationships, it's like terrifying in a way. So it's like you want to get a handle on your emotions and how you feel about that situation to be able to communicate it. And Matthew is more, I mean, we're both very calm and collected in situations, just maybe how we communicate it is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So for me, maybe he's the person that just needs to chill about the situation and figure out a way. He can talk about it in bits and pieces, literally. Like he can address it now in 2 hours and figure it out. Me, it's D and Den. Let's get it out and figure it out. Because also, I don't want to be thinking about it because I can really overthink.
And I think that's
stuff.
like something that has to do with our genders, right?
Yeah. Like, I
as a
also-
woman, like you don't want something holding
Yeah.
you back. Like
Yeah.
you just want to talk about it there and then.
We overthink.
Whereas a man can really, it depends. But like naturally,
Yeah.
men can like hold back, walk away and try to figure out another way to like sort that situation out.
Yeah.
But, for us girls,
I know. I think also.
But I'm a walker. Like personally, I would rather walk away,
yeah, I'm not a
handle
walk
my
out.
emotions. Like I personally don't think anything can be solved in anger.
Yeah.
And so
That's true.
one emotion, like I think all emotions are valid, right? But one emotion that I am terrified of is anger. I do not like anger. I walk away from it.
Yeah.
I make sure that like I'm back
Yeah.
to myself and that I have collected all of my emotions and put them in check
Yeah.
before. So just self-regulating before I deal with the conflict at hand. But
The things we can do out of anger is
dangerous.
It's easy for me to move on. Like I can get upset in like 2 minutes sometimes.
And then you're done.
That's the thing. So for me, it's like I can't hold it in. Like I really don't have the energy to even hold it in. And the thing is not like I'm like so upset or anything. It's just that like so much emotion is going through me at that point, and I'm just like it needs to literally get out of me and be done. It's not gonna literally like in 5. I'm literally gonna
And that's
be
a
fine.
good person right there.
I'm just like that's it. It's
In
done.
my opinion,
and I would
it is.
never bring it up, right?
Yeah.
Like and I think there was some we struggle with that at some point because
Yeah.
it's like I would get over it quickly because like I literally had that emotion. We had that conversation,
And that was
and
over.
maybe Matthew would maybe bring it up later to talk about it. I'm just like, we don't need to talk about it again.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I think the emotion's gone. Like, I figured it out there and then. And I think that's why I don't know how to hold on to stuff.
anything.
And that's why it's really easy for me. I can't be dismissive about stuff because I'll think about it and want to have that conversation. And Matthew really doesn't like me being upset with him. I think that's just a thing. He just cannot
He
be in
enjoys
that.
you
He
happy.
doesn't know how to be in
Yeah.
that.
Love
He'll
is
be asking
sweet,
me- he'll be asking me
oh.
like, it's like, did I do something? I'm like, no, it's fine. But I think he's just trying to check because he doesn't want to assume
That
how I feel.
people hold on to things without saying.
Yeah.
She used to do that. Like earlier in our relationship, she
Yeah.
would be mad at me and not say anything. So she'd be walking around mad. I have no idea. I'm
you
la
have to
la
figure
la,
out.
you know,
Yeah.
like having
He's
a good
jealous.
time.
You
have to try and
she's
guess.
upset.
Yeah.
And then later on, it comes out, and
Yeah.
now you're rebuilding.
Yeah.
I guess while we're on that point, what advice would you give to young couples? Like they're getting married this year, next year. This year is 2026. They're getting married this year. What advice would you give to them as a base?
Getting married this year or engaged? It depends.
Getting
Doesn't matter,
married.
Whichever
It
one.
does
And
depend.
getting married,
Very
couples, they are in the building foundation stage.
I would say to build it together intentionally.
I like that.
I was gonna say actually be intentional about the relationship. Do not assume that marriage comes with anything. Like you make it what you want. Like just because
Yeah.
you're married, things don't automatically start to happen.
Yeah.
In fact, it starts to reveal itself who you truly are.
Everything is exposed in marriage.
Everything is exposed. Oh my
Yeah.
God, behaviors, the good, bad, and the ugly is shown. Like, just be intentional about it. And how will I put it? Figure out what you're for
What your
better.
marriage should look like.
Yeah, for better, for worse. What is your marriage? What kind of marriage do you want to have? Who do you want to be in the marriage? Jesus. Like you don't want to. Do you want to be a bitter person? Do you want to be a person that just brings sadness into the home, or do you want to be somebody that your husband's excited to be back home to? Like just a peaceful environment, no chill, no stress, just simple. You can really make it what you want, and what may work for you may not work for others, right?
Yeah.
And like we were talking about evolving, your husband or your wife is going to change a lot. You have to
accept that.
love that new person, accept that new person, and allow your marriage to evolve with it. That's how, like, at least at this point where we're at, has really worked out. It's that I'm not expecting the same guy from 7 years ago when we
Right.
met, 8 years ago when we met, to being the exact same person now. So it's like you're constantly evolving. So just be intentional about it. It's okay, like, work through things. The things that if you can figure out the things that are hard in your marriage that are like a strong pain point, work through it. Time is not gonna make it easier.
No.
Literally, you have to just figure it out. If you know that finances is a big pain point of your marriage, start problem solving together.
Yes.
Now, so that it can just be easy. It's like get the problem out of the way and live and always live so you can live the best life you can have.
Right.
Because it just creates things that you hold against the other person, like, oh, like this is, you're terrible with money, our financial situation's bad, this is why, because there's something called financial infidelity, right?
Right.
And you experience them, like they're gonna reveal themselves in so many different ways. So just figure out a way to navigate through it, because at the end of the day, this is the life that I have.
Right.
So I'm gonna try to make the best out of it.
I like that. And I think like something that I picked out of that is like that marriage, your marriage is going to evolve.
Yeah.
So be intentional about every part of that.
Yeah.
Don't stay static. Grow. Allow yourselves to grow.
Yeah.
And I would like to just point out that like as Africans, right, we sometimes let culture expectations hold us back. We tell ourselves, oh, I can't do this because my culture doesn't allow that. Like back home, a man would never do that. Or back home, a woman would never do that. Well, we're not back home now, are we? You know? So you have to evolve with time.
Yeah.
Good culture is culture that evolves over time based on like the environment that you're in. And so accept just the fact that like
Yeah,
life is evolving.
it is.
And you have to evolve with it or you get left behind.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, when you get left behind, you will feel it. And when you feel it, you will become miserable.
Gonna be so
Do you want to be miserable?
sore. No, seriously. Yeah.
That's just it.
'Cause
That's
people,
just
people
it.
have that whole mindset of like, you get married, you have kids, and just go. And
Everything will
like,
work out after that.
I'm like,
It's not like that.
You have been living your whole life separately, grew up in a different family, different upbringing, and you just want to come together, you start having kids, and you think things are going to be...
It's not easy.
It's not.
No.
Do you know, and this is everybody to each their own, right? There are people who get married and have kids right away, and it works out. They navigate these problems or really tough situations
Milestones,
with children.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I think one time we literally sat and looking like, how the hell would we have done this with kids?
With a child.
Like, figure out
Yeah.
life, right? And it's like, you want to be, it's that same thing of like happiness. Like, let your marriage bring you joy. Let it bring out the best in you.
Yeah.
Take all the risk. And that was something we said, like, I want to take so much risk that I would never have been able to do it by myself because I have Matthew.
Yeah.
When I started businesses that I was like, what the hell am I doing? I had Matthew to at least help, like to
Right.
be there and say, we'll figure this out together. Like if the property was falling apart and something was going on, I was gonna lose thousands of dollars, Matthew would show up and get help and we'll figure it out and move on, right? I was able to do that married, thank God.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I was able to pursue my dreams. I was able to pursue
You had a footing
risk.
to land on.
Yes, I had literally a support because I
Yeah.
knew I had a
Supported each other.
teammate.
Yeah.
And it was like when I was 100% focusing on the business, he was holding it down at the house, like making sure things were getting done, things were getting mixed. When he started doing like side projects and taking on other things, I
You
was
were
helping
home.
him figure it out. He was like, I want to do this. However, it's such a big move or big change. I'm like, all right, let's come up with a plan. How about we try it this way and see so that at least we're not going cold turkey on things, right? And he feels comfortable because it's like, okay, cool. He's like, I need to get this. It costs like $5,000. I'm like, okay, are you okay sacrificing this, figuring this out?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with me, but I'm like, okay, he wants to do this. I'm like, all right, let's come up with a plan. And
But
get
it does
done.
have something to do with you. I was gonna say when you talked about like your happy money, right?
Yeah.
The money that makes you happy outside of your marriage
Yeah.
is about the other person.
Yeah.
When you're happy,
Yeah.
that makes him happy.
Yeah.
That makes your home joyful.
Yeah.
And a happy place
Yeah.
and a shield for
Yeah.
you to be at.
Absolutely.
And so essentially,
Yeah.
it is about you.
Yeah. So usually, like if he has like a big goal that he maybe like a big purchase he's trying to do, whether it's for work or something he just needs to just be better, whether in his career, we now talk through it. I'm like, they're not cheap, and we will sit down and come up with a plan. I'm like, all right, go swipe the card.
Yeah.
This has the money that you need, and he's gonna do it with full peace of mind,
Right.
knowing that there's food in the house, the bills are paid, we have food over, shelter over
And
our
he's got
head.
support in the back.
Exactly, and there's
I
so
love that.
much more peace of mind with that. Like if I want something, even if I could I was like, here's what I've thought about. What do you think? You know, he'd be like, oh, okay, we could do that. And how about if we do this? So things like that. There's
Yeah.
so many things we have tried and figured out. And I'm just like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
We were able to figure it out at this point and so early on in our marriage. If not, I don't know what I would have done.
I love you guys. You're so
Yeah.
inspirational.
Thank you.
If you could describe your marriage in one word, what would it be and why?
Put a word.
An adjective.
Transformational for me. Our marriage has been transformational.
Yeah, kind
I like that.
of puts together everything
that.
we
Yeah.
like
It
talked
has
about.
changed
Yeah.
me. It's transformed my life, my career,
Yeah.
my relationship with my family, everything, my friends. Everybody knows me as like Faith that's married. That's married.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a word? Or
I agree with her. I'm gonna take that one. Take that one with me.
Transformational.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So,
Yeah.
what prayers or hope do you guys hold for your future together?
Growth. Continue
Yeah.
to grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Literally and figuratively.
Whether it's more trips, more love, more money, just more experiences all the way around.
Yeah.
And a
I think so.
family, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
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 Look forward to that.
We do. We do. We talk about it, and I think we're very intentional about it. I think it's just that thing that you just have peace of mind, just knowing, like,
We've done the hard work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
We-
like
we
genuinely.
built the foundation.
We've worked so much on ourselves. You have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
have worked so much on ourselves. I've seen the person that he has become. That I'm just like, thank God. Like
We're
Jesus,
here,
this
yeah.
is like such a good, person. Genuinely, he's kind, and whatever. The kids that you would have together, they have a really strong model where it's like
Right.
genuinely. I'm like. When it comes to kindness, like genuinely just people that are kind, I'm like, Matthew
Matthew is a kind person.
He's genuinely a
Very,
kind
very
person.
kind.
Thank you.
I know,
Very
and
kind.
I tell him, and I tell him like, you always wonder how like people you meet just like you naturally without really getting to know who you was as a person. Like you have that, like,
Yeah.
and that's just even like in moments of conflict. Even sometimes I feel bad because I'm like, he's genuinely a nice guy, like a kind person. He's not mean. He doesn't treat me bad at all. And I'm like, this is such a good person, right? And I'm like, and I've been better because of that. Because I'm like, he doesn't. There thinks he's just not an asshole about things or anything. He's, he says yes a lot to me.
No, Matthew is very kind.
To her
Like
specifically though.
Exactly.
kind of-
no,
That's
Matthew
the
is
Yeah.
very kind, and
Yeah,
I think
such a
that
kind
like
person, yeah.
I think one thing I've learned from my friends' husbands, right,
Yeah.
is that marry a kind man.
Yeah.
Not kind to me,
Yeah.
but
Kind
kind
to everyone.
generally.
Yeah.
Like they're just kind, and that's who they are.
Yeah.
A man who is kind
Yeah.
loves you unconditionally.
No,
They
seriously.
treat you well.
Yeah.
They love on you and everything around you. Like the way these guys love on us.
Yeah.
I kid you not, guys. I don't really just be coming over here and just talking. Like, these are my life experiences. Like, these guys are just very, very kind. Like,
Yeah.
you can call one of them and say, yo, this and this is happening, and I really need to hear
Yeah.
what you think.
Yeah.
And they'll do it.
No, seriously. I think that's always good. I love my mother-in-law for that.
For raising a man like
I'm
that.
like, yeah, even my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Like, I love them so much. I'm like, Matthew's such a good person, and
Yeah.
everyone in his family knows that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny because if Matthew is quiet or he's not his jolly self, like people know. Like they will know. Even like people at work, they're like, it's just a vibe to him. They just know like something's
Yeah.
wrong with Matthew or something
Yeah.
is going on. And I think that's just that natural. That's just who he is as a person. And it's crazy because he had his own difficult upbringing, right? And so to have people on the other side of it that are just genuinely nice and kind people is very good. And I think
Yeah.
Who you choose to be
I got lucky.
intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
lucky in that area that Matthew's very kind.
You chose well.
Regardless.
He's a good guy.
You chose well.
Really
You
good
chose
guy.
well.
Yeah.
I think they say that the first 5 years are like your foundational years.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have done the hard work. And now you can go to the years of enjoyment and actually
man.
enjoy.
Enjoy more than this. Yes, sign me
We love
up.
that. No, seriously,
Really
thank
good.
you guys so much for sharing.
Yeah.
I guess the only other thing I'd like to ask is, what is it that you wish you had known before you got married?
What should I say?
Yeah. What do you wish you knew before you got married?
That's a tough one.
I wish.
Because you go in so, not blind, but there's so much, like, it's like you
Yeah.
go
So
in,
much to have,
you know
yeah.
this much. You
Yeah.
know there's this much to learn.
I don't know. Okay, so maybe what I was saying may not even. Your dating has no bearing on what your
My
marriage
what?
looks like.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Dating has no
Oh, yeah.
bearing what marriage looks like.
Really?
Let me like no, like I
No,
wish
yeah.
dating.
I wait to
dating
ask
was,
people,
Dating was
How's
cool.
your marriage now? Like, how?
Dating is
How was it?
cool. Like
Yeah.
it's fine. Obviously, getting to know. I feel like we dated for almost 3 years. I feel like it was a blur. Like that's genuinely how I feel about that whole time. Like I mean, obviously we had such a good fun times in school, but it was such a blur. Because like I don't know, what was I doing?
It doesn't hold the same weight.
It does not hold
Doesn't hold the
any
same weight.
weight whatsoever. Yes. So that whole idea of like, there are people that can date for 6 months and get married. There are people that date for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years. Let me tell
I beg
you,
you.
it has no bearing whatsoever. It feels like
I
a
remember you
blur.
saying that during
Oh,
Gorpu's marriage.
Yes.
Please expand,
I
my
don't
dear.
care if you've dated for 10, 3, 2, 6, however long you date before marrying someone. To be honest, I feel very strongly about this. It does not matter. If you meet someone 1 month and you're like, oh, this is cool, do it. Long engagement, fuck that shit. There is no, sorry that I had to use that word, but you are just dragging the inevitable because
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like you have to be married to like be in it. It's such a blur. It has no bearing. There's no weight. It doesn't carry any significance to your marriage. Marriage is so like everything is so weighted. Like everything matters. Everything is important.
Yeah.
Dating is not that. It's like no. Sure,
Yeah.
dating should indicate to you who this person is.
Yeah.
However, do not use your dating to even quantify your marriage because you'll even forget. It's like
right.
not going to have any bearing because marriage reveals us. It forces you to look inwards. Dating, you still have that convenience of like, so if you feel like you're emotionally abused in your marriage, this person is not putting you first. The important things that you genuinely need as a person is not there during dating. Marriage is not gonna do it. It's not. It's just not because it just amplifies who that person is. I thought he was a nice guy dating, cool guy, fun to be around. Marriage, you get to feel the weight of that character.
Right.
So in dating, I usually just feel like if you date for 6 months and marry, I'll be happy for you just as much as I'm happy for somebody who's been dating for a long time. Cut the long engagements. You're just dragging the
She just had to say that.
let's just dragging the planning of the wedding and all that. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Do it.
If you decide that you're getting married, do it. Have the tough
Enjoy being married.
I don't even need to say have the tough conversations. The tough conversations will come. Marriage is beautiful. You're gonna have a great time. Dating was maybe a wind of what you will experience in marriage. Marriage is just is going to have that for you. I mean, not that to say people who just choose to be in common law marriages, like choose to just live together. I love to say love to shack together. You know, it's easier that because I think for some people they just don't like the burden of marriage or whatnot. However,
But you're doing it.
However, though, like there's something about marriage. It's like you don't have to be religious, but
It's a godly thing.
But it's also spiritual.
So
There's
spiritual.
like something spiritual about marriage.
It's
that
so spiritual.
There's nothing you can just do about it.
I always say like like the reason I am so passionate about marriage and I talk about marriage a lot is because it is the only institution created by God alone and for the glorification of God. It's something about marriage that is so different about, like, it's so different that, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that to Gorpu
Yeah.
when she got married.
Yeah.
It was like, now the journey has begun.
Yeah, because
And-
they have been together for a while, right? And
Yeah.
we talk now like
Yeah.
there is a weight to it. There is a weight to when you're in
Yeah.
a marriage with
It's a
someone.
covenant.
Yeah, it's like all the forces reveal themselves.
Yeah.
Dating because you can easily move and
There's no commitment
like your souls are literally like
tied
locked
together.
in. And
That's
there's-
deep.
That's just
That's deep.
yeah.
That's deep. Anyways, you guys, this has been such a fun conversation. I've learned so much. Don't worry. As I edit, I'll be taking notes. I will be taking notes. I'll be like, oh, okay, that. No, I've really, really enjoyed this so much. I feel like I've learned so much through this.
Yeah.
And I hope that you guys have too. And if it's one thing that I'm taking away from this is that our parents did their thing, right?
Yeah.
And for a lot of us, a lot of our parents were just surviving. You know, there was not a lot of joy in our homes. They were just survival.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That was them. Now it's us.
Yeah.
And we can do it. We can do marriage intentionally. We can do marriage through partnership. We can do marriage through healing. We can choose how we do marriage. We can do marriage through communication. We can heal through our marriages. Like you guys are healing from some of your past traumas as kids. You're unlearning some behaviors that you had learned as kids, and now you're choosing a way forward. That's a choice you're making every day, right? And so, like, I hope that that's something we can take away from this, and that just like a marriage and faith and marriage has evolved, traditions evolve, expectations evolve. So please, let's evolve with them. You know, let's just do that. One last takeaway from you guys to our audience. What is it that you'd like them to take away from this episode? Just one thing. If they didn't hear anything else.
Make marriage your own. Don't try to benchmark anybody's. Just don't. It's not, because if you benchmark someone's marriage, you kind of benchmark their problems as well.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to bring in new problems. So make it your own, your relationships, be intentional. Intentional living, I think. Just intentional living,
Just do
intentional
it.
marriage, just intentional everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much for coming and listening to Emo Talk. Wherever you may be watching or listening to this, please like, subscribe, and comment and share. Please share this episode with others. I'm pretty sure they will enjoy it just as much as you did. Much love from Emo Talk.
Bye.
We have our own purpose in life, and you have children and you pass down the best of you, because I feel like having children is a privilege in life, right? And so if you have to honor that decision, you have to do the best that you can, and you cannot intentionally put kids in like a space of trauma because they see you as their whole world. And so it's one of those things where it's like, in as much as I saw it, it's kind of like the buck stops with me. Like, it's not gonna pass down. This is not something that's normal.
Emo Talk Show.